Hello everyone, how's it going? Hope you're having a wonderful night. So Microsoft possibly considering Gears of War on PlayStation. Now this has been dancing around the rumor mill for a while that Microsoft is bringing their exclusives to not only Nintendo console with Hi-Fi Rush, but also PlayStation. Now Microsoft isn't exclusive anymore. They released their games on PC as well. The demographic for games have changed a lot over the years, and especially with the modern age, the idea of a console war no longer exists. It's just a fantasy at this point. Yes, maybe back on the Super Nintendo and Sega Genesis you could argue, because they did play into that with the marketing material, but nowadays console publishers do not care about exclusives. Sony releases their games onto PC after a year, like for example Horizon Forbidden West is now coming to PC. God of War Ragnarok will likely come next year or maybe late this year to PC. It's going to happen because right now releasing games on console on one exclusive platform isn't profitable. You'd want to double dip, and the best way to double dip is to release the game on PC, because I know this is going to anger a lot of console fanboys. PlayStation, Xbox, Switch, they're all just computers with special features installed into them. So regardless of how you look at them, they're just PCs with underpowered hardware. Yeah, PC is dominant when it comes to hardware because of customization, but regardless, that's just how things are going, and Microsoft is definitely trying to vanguard that type of approach. Well, technically you can argue that Google tried that with Stadia and failed hard because they simply didn't have the platform to sustain such a model, especially with Stadia being so Stadia with the high internet cost, the requirements, and overall just the overall expense for Stadia. Apple's trying to do that with Apple TV, but Microsoft is definitely taking charge with that with their cloud gaming service, Xbox Game Pass Ultimate, where you can play their games on virtually anything. Literally, you can play it on mobile, you can play it on PC, so they're definitely trying to just be under the umbrella of you can play our games anywhere. All you have to pay is I think it's $18 now a month because they raised the cost, but about $20 a month, and you can play all our games, day one releases on any platform. And Microsoft delivering those games onto other platforms just seems like a prudent decision. Look at Double Fine, they own them and they release Psychonauts on everything. Granted, Psychonauts was in development beforehand, and they did also have crowdfunding for that game, so that may be a little murky in that water. But when it comes to Starfield, yeah, that's probably going to come to PlayStation once the hype for the game, or at least the sales for the game, start to dip. Even though people usually just use Game Pass to play these games, there are people who still buy the game even though the game is technically not even on the disc in some situations. Same thing for Halo Infinite, which is very scary considering that Microsoft shut down their physical department recently and may be just going for all digital. Regardless, according to a new statement from Jeff Grubb in the latest Giant Bomb live stream, Microsoft could be thinking about bringing Gears of War to PlayStation. Grubb stated in the move is definitely under consideration. This adds the classic Gears of War series to the growing list of Xbox exclusives coming to other platforms. Now, Gears of War is one of those franchises really needs to come out with a new entry. It's been years since Gears 5, and even though I wasn't a fan of Gears 5 because of how it ended, I mean, they recycled one of the bosses and then had a major cliffhanger with no ending. I did like the Hivebusters DLC. I really like that idea of different parts of the army fighting the same enemy in different perspectives. I really like that type of story, like with Dragon Age, with the alternative ending with the Darkspawn. I kind of like that stuff. Recent rumors suggest that both Indiana Jones and Starfield are also in talks for a PlayStation 5 release. Naturally, the decision for Gears of War is hardly concrete, and Microsoft has no officially confirmed anything about it yet. In fact, they did not confirm anything reported over the last 24 hours. So yeah, and it also complements this new report from The Verge, who states that they're going to confirm this next week. Now, this is not only big for Microsoft, but also for PlayStation if they allow Microsoft published games onto their platform. But Microsoft has been on a spending spree when it comes to buying studios like Double Fine, Bethesda, Activision Blizzard, so maybe Sony is starting to feel the weight of all those big decisions, because even though they bought Bungie, Destiny 2 has been flopping very hard with their community. A lot of people are not happy with the latest expansion. I didn't even bother with it when I saw it. The Witch Queen was great. It kind of went back to the dark era that a lot of people wanted from Destiny 2, and then the latest expansion kind of went into the Fortnite route where it's lots of of neon lights and wacky. Basically, it's like the Suicide Squad game for Destiny 2. And if that just made you very angry, well, congratulations, you're in the same boat as a lot of other people. Naturally, the decision for Gears of War. Oh, wait, I read that. News surfaced online earlier today suggesting Microsoft could be preparing for extensive third-party push. Xbox new marketing strategies quickly dividing fans. Players are concerned about the system's health, edge, and long-term value as exclusive releases on other platforms. I mean, they should have already been aware of this since the beginning. Microsoft has been very clear about this, Phil Spencer in particular. Like, the Xbox console is there, but you don't need it. You can play everything on PC, and it's just there as another avenue for people who want that, who just want the Xbox console and just want to, turn it on and play games, which is fine. There is a market out there. I'm one of those people. Even if I'm in the minority, there are people out there who just want to buy the console and just put in the disc or buy the game digitally. There are always options. Granted, the latest rumored for the next Xbox update is that it's going to be all digital, which definitely sends a chill down my spine. I still buy physical games because let's face it, at any time games could get delisted. They can end up not working in a lot of ways. Like, yeah, physical games have their issues as well, but you own your game. But again, Microsoft is kind of pushing against you even owning your game at this point. I don't know how this is okay in any regard, but yeah. Hopefully, Phil Spencer, the head of Xbox, will announce something official to discuss ongoing rumors. It would help clear up any confusion, even if it doesn't necessarily put fans' minds at ease. I don't think he's going to say anything. He wouldn't say anything. Gears of War remains an iconic third-person shooter IP. All of the flagship titles have strong ratings on Metacritic. Yeah, they do. Like, I would say the only weakest entry is Gears of War Judgment, mainly because it's unnecessary, kind of retcons, well, not retcons, but tramples on a lot of Gears of War lore. And on top of it, it kind of goes against the military lore of, like I stated, tramples on the military lore of this franchise where they just have random locusts everywhere instead of having that strict military order that the franchise is known for. I do remember I heard Cliff Belinsky stating that he does want to come back and advise on the next Gears of War game. Not really sure why, because it seemed like he was done with games after Lawbreakers. On top of it, he also thinks it needs a soft reboot like God of War. I disagree. I think remaining third person is the best strategy for Gears of War, considering that's its iconic situation. With God of War, it kind of works because it's still that very hardcore hack and slash gameplay from the original franchise. The camera is different, yes, but it still has that same hardcore violence to it. But with Gears of War, even if it was first person, I don't think a lot of people would be okay with that. Like, the whole point of Gears of War is the violence and you being right in the action with the third person combat, because you get to see all the executions that they perform in the game. You see the character down, you perform the execution. That's iconic with Gears of War. But I'm kind of going off on a tangent. The most recent title, Gears 5, is focused on Kate Diaz and still has a mostly positive Steam rating. Yeah, because it's still a good game. They actually did do a decent array of updates for Gears 5. Yeah, like I stated, I didn't like the ending of the game. I had no problem with Kate taking the reins because it was hinted that she would be the new main character in Gears 5 after Gears of War 4, because this is spoiler alert, but this game's been out for more than 5 years at this point. She is a descendant of Mira, and because of that, it's obvious that she was going to be one of the main characters, which I'm fine with. I actually like the idea that they still keep JD in the loop and how he evolves as a person. But yeah, it has a lot of really good updates. The only problem is that it's so large that if you want to dive back into the game, well, be prepared for a very, very large update. It takes a lot of space up. There's still a major audience for the series, and reports last month claimed that Gears of War Collection is already in testing. Yeah, I heard about that. Gears of War 3 is definitely one of the best cooperative games to come out on the Xbox 360. Like, my Gears of War Story Explained still gets, like, constant views. This release would essentially resemble the Master Chief Collection for Halo. Hopefully it doesn't launch in the same state with the, broken multiplayer. It would be handy way to introduce this series to a new audience of players. That includes PlayStation fans. So, yeah. So it seems that Microsoft may be testing the waters with this stuff. I think the best option would probably to do a low-key franchise, maybe like well, it's not a franchise, but do Hi-Fi Rush, see how it handles, then go in with Gears of War. Like, I doubt they'll start with games like Halo. Halo's like the juggernaut, even though Halo Infinite has, like, not performed as to their liking. Granted, that was their fault, not the Halo IP. A lot of people did like Halo Infinite. It was just like they dropped the ball with how they operated the development of the game. There are a lot of reports of how it handled, like they would hire contract workers and kind of just go through employees in a cycle process, and it was really stupid. I don't know what the hell they were thinking. But in this situation, I think Gears of War would probably be the best IP to introduce because it has a very long-standing fan base. The games are still well regarded by a large portion of the fan base. Gears of War 1 is still an exceptional game. I mean, all the Gears of War games are still exceptional. Even Gears of War Judgment, despite my reservations about the game with the multiplayer, the system where they changed it from the original combat system where you press the control pad to switch weapons to only holding 2 weapons and using Y to swap weapons. I don't know what the fuck they were thinking with that. But, and there was also the microtransactions. If you think Dead Space 3 was bad, Gears of War Judgment is way worse with its microtransactions. They charge you for everything. But I would say with the exception of Gears of War Judgment, a lot of people just want that game to be gone. All the other Gears of War games are absolutely loved. Even Gears 5, despite its also polarizing reception. I don't know why a lot of people hate Kate. I kind of like her, but maybe they just find it a little difficult because JD is the son of Marcus Phoenix, so maybe that's why. And there's also an ending in Gears 5 that a lot of people weren't really a fan of. But you know, we all know who we chose in that situation. Don't sugarcoat it. So what do you think about all this? Do you think it's a good idea for Microsoft to bring their games to PlayStation? I think it's a brilliant idea because console wars are dead. The only people fighting these console worlds are, they're kind of brain dead. I remember there was a doctor who like was performing surgery and he was like a PlayStation fanboy. Granted, he did get the patient's consent, but either way, it just looked very despicable. I'll put up a link to the story if I can find it, but there was this idiot. There are a lot of like real big idiots with these console fanboy initiatives that I don't get it. It's almost cult-like, but I feel like once you reach the past the age of maybe 5, you have a better understanding that these are just like computer boxes, and the games they release on can easily be transferred from one platform to the next. But that's just my opinion. I'm okay with this. I have no problem with it. I'll again just play it on Xbox because I have Game Pass, so I get it through Game Pass, and the PlayStation fans who want to play it can just spend the $60-$70 if they want to play it there. So it just seems like a win-win for everyone. More people get to play these games, more people get to enjoy them. I'm totally happy with PlayStation fans starting to actually, if they never played Gears of War, you're in for a treat. One of the most hardcore sci-fi third-person shooters there is. So I will actually be very interested to see how PlayStation fans play these games, whether they like them or hate them. But that's enough for me rambling. I've spent 12 minutes rambling. Like, dislike, your choice. If you want to go the extra mile, super thanks and join membership. But till next time, goodbye.